Once upon a time, there were two original animated children's movies. Stay with me here. The first movie had everything going for it on paper. Big studio budget, several well-known actors, and a premise that was supposed to be safe and marketable. The kind of film that normally gets prime advertising slots and Happy Meal toys. But during development, something went very wrong. Test audiences rejected it so completely that it failed its initial screenings by 100%. Yes, actually 100%. And when it finally slumped into theaters after lots of changes, controversy followed it like a shadow. The second movie? Well, it took a different path entirely. Smaller budget, much more accessible for families, less familiar faces, and a story that felt somehow even more niche. It was the kind of story that took universally loved themes and put an incredibly fun spin on them, but no one really expected anything crazy to come from it. Here's what's super interesting though. Neither film had much marketing. I don't think I saw a single ad for either one of them. But then something beautiful happened. Audiences fell in love with one of them regardless. We're talking millions of people sharing genuine excitement, the kind of organic momentum that you can't manufacture. One of these movies reminded me of my love for animated films and why it's my dream to be able to work on projects like this in the future. The other, it made me wonder what in the world has happened to the magic of this genre. That second movie, the one that swept me off my feet, that's K-pop Demon Hunters. And listen, I will just go ahead and confess, okay? I absolutely had no idea what this movie was about. As a very casual K-pop listener, the very first thing I ever saw in reference to this movie was a cosplay. Then I saw another, then another. So I finally sat down to check it out. And now, 3 viewings later, my social media algorithm is completely broken and I'm watching fan compilation videos at 2 a.m. No regrets. But here's the thing that hit me while I was in this completely unexpected spiral. I hadn't felt this way about an animated movie in years. I was sitting there smiling at my screen, humming along to the incredibly catchy songs, and then being genuinely invested in these characters in a way that felt so natural and effortless. So let me tell you why this movie completely won me over, because honestly, it understands something that I think we've just forgotten across the board in storytelling, especially when it comes to animation. First of all, the animation itself. All of the lead characters are absolutely beautiful while being exaggerated, unique, and fun. Big expressive eyes, hair that moves like it has its own personality, magical girl action sequences that are over the top. They're allowed to be so feminine, silly, dramatic, strong, powerful, and cute all at the same time. And the exaggeration adds to their likability instead of taking away from it. The character design philosophy is a breath of fresh air. Rumi, our female lead, isn't strong in that hollow girl boss way we've gotten so used to. Sometimes she's shy, other times she's naturally funny, vulnerable, emotional, flirty, nurturing. She feels like a real girl who just happens to be dealing with supernatural stuff. And the romance, yes, romance, is genuinely cute. Remember when the Disney princess was just allowed to fall in love with the prince? Yeah, it's been almost 12 years since we've seen that, and even then it was very much a subplot. But both the male and the female lead of this movie get moments of just really simple, sweet, genuine interactions with each other. Jinu, the guy, is literally designed to be handsome, charismatic, and strong-willed without it being problematic. He's not the joke, and his intelligence isn't dumbed down. He's just as strong and complex as Rumi, and their characters work together so seamlessly. But here's what's really cool. When you look at the overarching themes of this movie, it brings you back to the basics. An objective good versus objective evil. Heroes who sacrifice for something greater, not just a story about finding yourself, redemption, and overcoming deep-rooted shame. All of this is wrapped up in a story about friendship and music that defeats demons. Music that's actually dominating streaming charts in real life and has already broken records. And the movie never stops to explain why you should care about any of this. It just shows you this beautiful world, lovable characters, and trusts you to buy in completely. Something else that struck me: this movie clearly respects its source material and its audience. It takes Korean storytelling traditions, K-pop culture, including its adoring fans, the universal themes I mentioned before, and magical elements, and treats them all with such genuine love and care. The end result of all of this? An incredible fandom literally forming overnight. I've seen people of all ages fall in love with these characters, cosplays getting millions of views, makeup tutorials, hair tutorials, real-life K-pop boy and girl bands have been recreating dances from the movie, and the internet is just eating it up because here's the thing. This feeling I had watching K-pop Demon Hunters, I used to have it all the time with most Disney movies. And I think that's what has made this experience feel so special and also kind of bittersweet. Just like my experience with Nintendo, although I definitely have not had a soft spot for Disney in quite a while. But again, I was a 90s baby who grew up on Disney movies. And for many years after that, I fully believed in their magic. There was even a period in my life when I would genuinely say, Pixar doesn't miss, and mean it with my whole heart. There was this stretch in the 90s through like 2010 where Disney movies just trusted their own formula. You know, Aladdin didn't need to pause a whole new world to discuss power dynamics. It just showed us two people discovering wonder together. Belle got excited about books and learning without making a statement about empowerment. Hercules was incredibly strong and heroic without feeling guilty about it. And Rapunzel could dream about floating lanterns without anyone questioning if her goals were big enough. The point is, these characters were extremely memorable, and so many of them taught and showed us important lessons. But here's the key. None of it was forced on the viewer, and they were genuinely fun to watch, like you wanted to hang out with them, you wanted to be them. And for me, I started seeing this shift after the success of Frozen. Disney started second-guessing everything that made them special. Princess love stories suddenly needed to be deconstructed or just removed entirely. Beauty became something to apologize for. Wonder became something that needed to be grounded in modern reality instead of just enjoyed. And that's what makes K-pop Demon Hunters feel so refreshing. It's not trying to deconstruct anything. It's not apologizing for being magical, beautiful, romantic, or fun. It just is those things, and it not only allows but encourages the viewer to really enjoy them. So what happened? How did we go from the old Disney magic to, well, what they're doing now? We see the industry give reasons of, well, audiences are too picky now. People just don't care about original IP anymore. The theater is too expensive. And while I'm not denying that some of those things can contribute, the industry and its critics continue to disregard the big elephant in the room. For years now, mainstream entertainment has become more about correcting and grounding the audience instead of just entertaining them. Writers are more interested in cramming in modern ideology they find important, often accompanied by bad or lazy writing, rather than just telling a great story and making us care about characters organically. And you know what's interesting? The box office doesn't lie. We have financial proof of what's working and what isn't. Take the Snow White remake as the perfect example. They took a story about finding beauty in unexpected places and apologized for all of it. The lead actress publicly criticized the original. They used CGI dwarves, okay, heavily removed the romance and made sure to supplement with all the girl boss messaging. They lost $115 million just to make something that took everything people loved about the original and stomp all over it. Or what about the movie Wish, their big 100-year celebration movie? It lost them $130 million. This was supposed to be their triumphant moment, and instead it became something completely forgettable. Strange World lost over $100 million due to a whole mix of things, including forced, heavy-handed messaging, and Pixar's latest movie, Elio, is essentially following down the same path. To be completely honest, at this point, I'm pretty done with Disney, Pixar, and just Hollywood in general, because on top of all the low-quality stories, forced messaging, and modernized regurgitations, so many studios have stopped respecting their old formulas and source material entirely. Whether it's classic fairy tales, books, beloved games, or even their own previously successful properties, there's almost this contempt for the original. This attitude of, we know better, and we keep seeing it in the live-action remakes and unnecessary sequels. They keep taking old things that worked and making them worse. But even though it's technically part of these industries, I still have hope for original animation being created at least somewhat outside the main machine. Because it's not just K-pop Demon Hunters. Sony also figured it out with movies like Spider-Verse and Wish Dragon, which actually was written and directed by one of the same people behind Demon Hunters. Even more mature animation like Arcane saw huge success, even though, unfortunately for Riot, it still wasn't enough for more people to join League of Legends. And then even more niche films like Flow and The Boy and the Heron. Yes, it's anime, but they prove that unique, thoughtful storytelling still works. Other anime like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Frieren, they're breaking records because they prioritize making you care about characters first. And they expose the fact that so many studios have forgotten this critical thing. Movies, shows, and games are inherently supposed to be entertaining. When you respect your audience and create with them in mind, they will show up. Clearly, they'll buy tickets, they'll create fan art, they'll cosplay, they'll watch movies 3 times and post a video talking about it. And all of this brings me to why I think we might be witnessing something pretty important here. K-pop Demon Hunters is not a fluke. It's proof that original IP success is still possible when you offer high-quality storytelling and escape, instead of cramming it full of poorly executed modern ideologies, complete disrespect for source material, or past successes that audiences love. Or just plain bad, low quality, or lazy writing. When creators remember that entertainment, beauty, wonder, love aren't dirty words, when they trust their audiences to be smart enough to find meaning in well-told stories, when they celebrate traditional values and relationships instead of apologizing for them, that's when magic happens. This movie reminded me how much I missed just enjoying something. Characters who actually liked each other, characters who fought for things outside of something self-serving, and beautiful, attractive designs meant for the spotlight and celebration instead of modernization and punishment. Success looks like stories that allow you to escape real life and make you feel something real. When characters are likable and relatable, when the story is genuinely entertaining, when you trust your audience to have fun, that's when people beg for sequels. That's when you know you've created something that matters. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I'd love to hear from you. Are you a watcher of animation or anime? If so, please drop some of your favorites from late. I would love to check them out. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.